I'm out and about on the property as I seek to get my step count up. And I have actually just been scoping out a new footpath loop. This is the centre path and this is the first crossroads. I actually came out here, which is a little bit higher than I was expecting, but I was coming up following an animal track, so I wasn't quite sure where I was going to come up. Where I think I'd like the path to exit is here, where we have had the beginnings of a path previously. As you can probably tell, I'm always on the hunt for new work. I do have the Nan path to resurrect still. I'm waiting for better weather to be able to do that. But this little extension loop would be the first one really on this side of the property, which has sort of hitherto been slightly neglected. Trying to trace my way back. Animal tracks are a really good source of footpaths for me because they have by and large done a lot of the hard work. I think I'm aiming to go down there, but I think there is a slight animal track there, but I'm trying to, I think, scoot past that tree, and I'm pretty sure this is where I picked it up. I do love our property. The backwoods and the creek walk have got very different atmospheres. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can trace my way back. And then I'll keep it noted in my head as a future project. I've managed to hook myself back up with where I got onto this track. So if I just quickly make my way through this little bit of tea tree, which is essentially the only real part of it that would need much by way of intervention. I come back down here. Now, Will and I had previously also made a little bit of a trek to this part of the property when we were clearing big fallen trees after the bushfire. But if I get back to this point, that may be difficult to see. This little path is part of the Mr. Darcy Walk extension loop. The Mr. Darcy Walk is just there, and this is the path which goes back to the house up from the bridge, so the bridge track is just down there. So essentially then what I would have is an additional fork of this track which goes up and joins the centre path at the first crossroads. So yeah, I think that would be a quick win actually, a pretty minor project and a lovely little extension loop. I may even crack on with that this weekend, weather and other commitments permitting. Just off on a little walk and I've come across this snake here. I thought I'd stop and quickly film it because most of the time whenever I've seen snakes on the property they've been red-bellied black snakes, but I think that's an eastern brown snake. I don't know if you can see, but underneath it there's a slightly more creamy yellow colour. The red-bellied black snakes are quite mild-mannered snakes. Eastern brown snakes are notoriously aggressive and they are hugely venomous. So I'm going to divert myself away from walking down towards the pond and I'm going to leave it be. But I thought I'd show you a slightly different snake than we normally get to see on the property. This is only the second eastern brown snake that I've seen on the property. The other one was a few years ago up at the house. I'm going to turn in the opposite direction and give it a bit of a wide berth. As discussed previously, I have been out footpath working this morning. I cleared the bridge here, which has started to get a little bit dominated by the grasses which are growing either side of it. Just for some context, this is the little channel which overflows on occasion from our neighbour's pond and feeds into our pond, which is further down there. This little channel meanders, but I have also done the brush cutting on the extension loop. This is the Mr. Darcy walk. The new footpath heading up into the other side of the property from the centre footpath. So this is really my first foray into putting up a footpath that side. I have not had the means really all time to do that, but now I've got all this extra new equipment, particularly the brush cutter and a better functioning ride-on lawnmower, and the weather's been amenable. It means that I'm now getting into a position where I can start developing this side of the property. So this is the beginnings of the new footpath, and it hooks up where we've just come, but also to this footpath here, which leads back to the house slightly higher up than the bridge footpath. I've already put my rake up, so I'm going to go and collect it, work my way down the hill, raking as I go, and then I'll give you a quick glimpse of the finished footpaths, but it won't look too different than this. I just find raking up the leaves and the smaller bits of wood helps to define it, particularly for, say, someone like Will or a visitor who maybe, for obvious reasons, isn't as au fait with our footpath network as I am. So it just helps people to find it. I could get to this point here, for example, and there's another animal track going there, although our footpath goes this way, so people might be tempted to follow that one, so I just want to make sure I'm sending people in the right direction, but also just wanting to make sure that the bits of the property which aren't footpath are allowed to just chill and do their own thing. If I head up, I'll just quickly show you what I'm thinking. This is where this footpath comes out. So going this way takes us to the centre footpath, to a little crossroads. As I say, this is an existing animal track, which you may be able to see carries on in this direction. So I'm thinking what I'll probably do is, once I've re-established the Nan path, I'll come back here and I'll follow this track, see what it does. But maybe use it as the basis for sending a path up this side. The centre path isn't actually the actual centre of the property. There's actually quite a lot more woodland this side than there is the other side of the centre path. But the reason that it's where it is because it just followed a natural gap in the trees and a natural route from the house up to the top fire break. And it does also make that part of the property more accessible by vehicle in terms of clearing it. But also neighbouring properties just down here, and in this part of the property there isn't a fence. And so I've always wanted to sort of not go too far to that side, because I don't want people wandering onto the property accidentally. We may look at fencing that section. It would be good. I'd feel more comfortable knowing that people can't just wander around. I don't really like that. But anyway, this is a good potential compromise because it's not so close to the edge that it's easily visible. But it does give us access to another part of the property which is a bit underutilised at the moment because of all this bracken and stuff. It's a bit hard to tramp your way through, and there's tea tree and stuff up here too. But that's for the future. For now, me and my leaf rake are going to go and mark out this new footpath. Don't know if you can see the difference, but me and my trusty rake have made it down. And just for reference, many, though not all, of my footpaths have names, and I have christened this footpath Wombat Track because that is a wombat burrow. If you can make it out. I don't think it's been used for a while. So anyway, yes, Wombat Track.